The trip into the mountains is interesting. The old hill cart road, hustle bustle, students coming home from school, towns packed with vehicles and people. And yes, that's a railway track on the right. The train we just saw had just passed through here. We're going up to around 7,000 feet to see the town of Darjeeling, made famous as a British hill station during British rule. And as we ascend through the clouds, it's difficult to imagine those bygone days. It's October, a good time of the year for clear skies. But it's raining, so my hope is we'll go higher than the clouds. As another train passes, it does seem to be clearing a little, and sure enough, as we reach the top, we're encouraged to see blue skies and a little sunshine. Bodes well for tomorrow. After a 2-hour trip from Badogra airport, we reach the town and our hotel. And there's certainly an air of anticipation and expectancy. Though as I look back, it turned out far better than I'd imagined it would. Next morning, I look out of the window and see the familiar views that one sees in the guidebooks. A town on a hill with majestic, snow-clad mountains in the distance. Kanchenjunga, the world's third highest peak, is the most prominent mountain visible. What do you think when you hear the name Darjeeling? A cup of tea? A hilltop station surrounded by snow-capped Himalayas? Perhaps the site of a quaint Victorian town, thrown like a multicolored quilt over the foothills of the Himalayas. Perhaps all of the above. But as for me, the crowning glory of this place is the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, a narrow-gauge railway that runs spectacularly alongside and across the main road into the town, clanking, screeching, loudly announcing its presence, but most of all, more than anything else, reminding us of a bygone era. These engines are over 100 years old. The boilers only surviving because they're made from wrought iron and not steel. Here the crew get the 788B ready for our joyride to Ghum. It appears their tools are also over 100 years old. Well, most of them. As the regular diesel service to Siliguri leaves Darjeeling station, it's a hive of activity, and the super loud horns blast incessantly. They have to be louder than the truck horns so people can distinguish the two. For a small railway station, it's surprisingly busy. And no, this train is not going to Zanskar, it's just the name of the carriage. Zanskar is in Ladakh, which is one of the few parts of India without a railway. Wishful thinking, perhaps. Though talk of a line to Leh has been going on for years. Now I would love to travel on that line. We soon took our seats for the joyride. It's a 2-foot narrow gauge railway, about 55 miles long, that was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1999 and is only the second railway in the world to have this honor. I feel excited as I lean out of the window and get my first shots of the chugging steam engine winding its way down the street. Amazing. India is a magical land. The images that meet the eyes often make such an impact that they remain in our minds for life. A railway is perhaps the thing that more than any other epitomizes India and can be compared to the arterial system of the body, where the blood vessels reach every part, keeping it nourished, keeping it vibrant, making its purpose possible. Without it, life here just wouldn't be the same. This comparatively tiny part of the Indian railway system has definitely a character of its own, different even to the Kalka-Shimla train and the Nilgiri railway. It was the first mountain railway, officially opened on the 4th of July 1881. The sound of these steam locomotives has thus been heard in these hills for well over a century. Legends were told in those days of the great fire eater that walked on paths of steel and breathed white clouds of smoke. Those who were courageous enough would travel miles to catch a glimpse of it as it huffed and puffed its way through these mountains. The British colonials built it out of necessity, and it changed their lives. But so too the local people. For the trip that had taken days by Bullock cart now took only a matter of hours. The mountains are behind those clouds. If you think the engine pulling this train is from the last century, you'd be wrong. It's from the century before, late 1800s. Ghum is the highest railway station in India at 7,407 feet, slightly higher than Shimla. We were to stop off here for about an hour, which gave us the opportunity to see the town. As always, the railway is the way for students to get to school. They've been doing it for over a century. We then decided to go and visit the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway Museum, which is right above the station. There are many interesting exhibits and photographs from the past. After the visit, we then had a little stroll around the town. A very interesting place. Then back to Darjeeling. When Mark Twain came here, he said of the train, "The railway journey up the mountain is 40 miles, and it takes 8 hours to make it. It's so wild and interesting and exciting and enchanting that it ought to take a week." Maybe he should have rode the Bullock cart. Things have changed a little since then. For me, the most fascinating thing about it is its proximity to the road. There are few places on the planet where you can see century-old steam trains chugging up mountains. But this one is on the same road as the cars and trucks. Every now and again, we have to stop to take on water. It uses 45 gallons a mile, and its water tank has a capacity of 400 gallons. The trip from Ghum to Darjeeling is actually downhill. I was able to get a train driver's eye view of the last part of the trip. I assure you that video of this part of the trip can in no way compare to what I actually experienced. The horn blaring, the shops whizzing past. The clanking of the wheels and the loud puffing of the funnel, making it a wow moment. Finally reaching Darjeeling. What a trip. There are few places left where such a trip can be experienced. I'm a little sooty-faced, but now time to clean up and have lunch. Actually, I had a pizza and a hot ginger chocolate drink. We then had a chance to see the town and the local fauna. Fun people. After that, with just a couple of hours left of our visit, we decided to visit the zoo and get shots of the town on the way, reminiscent of Shimla. But the zoo did not allow video cameras. In the cafe, I was able to get shots of Darjeeling's most famous export, a cup of tea with Dr. Alex. We then went to Observatory Hill to get some last memorable shots of this beautiful hill station. And being an Englishman, I can well understand why this place was so loved by the British. Though rather than creating a little England in the mountains of India, one can't help but wish there were places of such beauty back in England. As the sun sets on a great day, I have to admit to feeling very privileged to have had the opportunity to visit.